Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when heaven and history collide, when the weight of yesterday can no longer sit on the shoulders of tomorrow. This is that moment. This is not just another year turning on a calendar. This is a divine interruption, a holy pause, a summons to step out of survival mode and into intentional living. You cannot carry old pain into a new season and expect fresh power. You cannot cling to what drained you and still run toward what is destined for you. 2026 is not asking you to remember what hurt. It is demanding that you release it. This is the year to reset your spirit, restart your vision, and refocus your life. Reset means you stop letting trauma write your identity. It means unplugging from chaos, stepping back from voices that confuse you, silencing the noise that keeps you reactive instead of reflective. Some of what you called loyalty was actually fear of being alone. Some what you called patience was really procrastination. But clarity has arrived, and clarity changes everything. Restart means you give yourself permission to begin again without shame. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not disqualified. You were in training. You were being refined. You were being strengthened in ways you could not understand while you were crying through it. The delay was not denial, it was development. Refocus means you stop wasting energy on people who benefit from your confusion. It means you stop explaining your purpose to those who only see your past. You don't need applause to be anointed. You don't need validation to be chosen. Focus returns, distractions lose their power. This is the season where discipline replaces desperation, where prayer becomes strategy. Faith is no longer emotional but intentional. You're not entering 2026 to repeat cycles. You are entering to break them. Let go of what almost worked. Go of who could not go where you're going. Let go of the version of yourself survive but never thrive. You owe your future a stronger mindset than your past ever had. This year, you will move differently. Speak less, listen more, build quietly, grow deeply. Others rush, you will be rooted. When others panic, you will be prepared, because focus creates momentum, and momentum creates manifestation. You are not starting over. You are starting aligned. Reset your heart. Restart your faith. Refocus your purpose. The next version of you is waiting on the decision you make right now. A new year is not merely the turning of a page on a calendar or the changing of a number on the wall. It is a divine invitation, an unseen hand extended toward your life, calling you to step higher, think deeper, and live with greater intention. Time itself does not change you. What changes you is how you respond to the moment you have been given. And every new year arrives carrying a question. Will you repeat what was, or will you rise into what can be? So many people cross into a new year dragging the weight of the last one behind them. They bring old disappointments, unresolved pain, unhealed wounds, and unfinished grief into a season that was meant to be fresh. They count days, make promises, write goals, yet never pause to recognize that this moment is sacred. A new year is not about resolutions born from guilt. It is about revelation born from awareness. It is an opportunity to realign your life with purpose rather than habit. A divine invitation always requires a response. It does not force itself on you. It waits, it knocks, it whispers. It asks whether you are willing to let go of what no longer fits who you are becoming. Growth is uncomfortable because it demands that you release familiar versions of yourself. But comfort has never been the birthplace of destiny. The new year arrives not to affirm your excuses, but to confront them, not to soothe your fears, but to challenge them. This invitation calls you to pause and reflect before you rush forward. Reflection is not weakness, it is wisdom. It allows you to examine where you have been emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and relationally. It asks you to be honest about what drained you and what strengthened you. Without reflection, you repeat cycles. Without awareness, you confuse motion with progress. A new year gives you space to look inward before you build outward. When you see a new year as divine, you stop approaching it casually. You stop treating days like they are disposable. You begin to understand that every moment carries potential. Every decision shapes direction. Time is neutral, but intention gives it power. Two people can walk into the same year, repeats history while the other creates legacy. The difference is not opportunity, but perspective. This divine invitation is also a call to heal, to pretend the pain never happened, but to refuse to let it define your future. Healing does not erase the past, it redeems it. It transforms wounds into wisdom and lessons into leverage. The new year asks you to stop bleeding into spaces that never hurt you. It asks you to stop punishing new opportunities for old betrayals. Healing is how you make room for what is next. It also invites you to realign your priorities. Over time, people drift. They get busy surviving and forget why they started. They chase approval and lose authenticity. They pursue success and sacrifice peace. A new year is a moment to recalibrate, to ask whether your life still reflects your values or merely your obligations. Realignment is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. There is also an invitation to grow in discipline. Passion may start a journey, but discipline sustains it. Motivation fades, but commitment carries you through seasons of uncertainty. The new year challenges you to stop relying on feelings and start building systems. Systems that protect your focus, systems that honor your energy, systems that move you forward even when enthusiasm is low. Discipline is the bridge between intention and transformation. A divine invitation also confronts fear. Fear of change, fear of failure. Fear of outgrowing people who once felt essential. But fear thrives where purpose is unclear. When you understand why you are moving forward, fear loses its authority. The new year does not promise ease, it promises growth. And growth always requires courage. Courage to try again. Courage to be misunderstood. Courage to believe that your future can be better than your past. This moment also calls for faith, not blind optimism. Grounded trust. Trust that what did not work was not wasted. Trust that delays were shaping you, not punishing you. Trust that unseen preparation often precedes visible elevation. Faith allows you to move forward without knowing every detail. Teaches you to walk while the path is still forming beneath your feet. The new year invites you to redefine success, not as constant achievement, as alignment, not as applause, but as peace, not as doing everything, but as doing the right things. When success is defined correctly, comparison loses its grip. You stop measuring your life against someone else's timeline and start honoring your own journey. It is also an invitation to build differently, to speak less and observe more, to move with intention rather than urgency, to plant seeds in silence and let results speak. Some of the most powerful transformations happen quietly. Roots grow in darkness before they ever break the surface. The new year does not require you to announce your plans. It asks you to commit to them. Ultimately, a new year is divine because it reminds you that your story is still being written. You are not finished. You are not behind. You are not defined by your worst moment. You are standing at a threshold, and what happens next depends on what you choose now. Will you enter this year reactive or responsive, distracted or deliberate, fearful or faithful? This is more than a date change. It is an invitation to rise in awareness, to walk in purpose, and to live with intention. The year ahead is waiting, not to repeat you, but to reveal you. And how you step into it will determine whether it becomes just another chapter or the beginning of a transformed life. Resetting requires releasing emotional and spiritual baggage because you cannot step into a new season carrying the weight of an old one. Many people want change without transformation, breakthrough without surrender, and new beginnings without letting go of what has already expired. A true reset is not cosmetic, it is internal. It begins in the unseen places of the heart and the spirit, where wounds, disappointments, fears, unresolved emotions quietly shape behavior, decisions, and direction. Emotional baggage is often invisible, yet it is heavy. It is carried in reactions that seem bigger than the moment, in defenses that rise too quickly, in trust that feels difficult even when it is deserved. It forms when pain is survived but never processed, when betrayal is endured but never healed, when loss is managed but never mourned. Over time, these unaddressed experiences settle into the soul and begin to dictate how you love, how you hope, and how you believe. Spiritual baggage works just as silently. It grows from unanswered prayers, delayed promises, disappointment with people who were supposed to protect or guide you, and confusion about why certain doors close despite your faith. It manifests as doubt disguised as wisdom, caution masquerading as discernment, distance from purpose framed as patience. When spiritual wounds go unhealed, people continue to believe but without expectation. They pray without anticipation. They show up, but without fire. A reset demands honesty, not surface level positivity, but courageous self-examination. It asks you to admit what hurt you, what broke you, and what you have been pretending no longer matters. Suppression is not strength. Silence is not healing. Avoidance is not maturity. True resetting requires confronting what you have been carrying and deciding that it will no longer control your future. One of the greatest barriers to releasing baggage is familiarity. Pain, when carried long enough, becomes part of identity. People learn how to function around their wounds. They build routines that accommodate dysfunction. They lower expectations so they won't be disappointed again. What feels familiar is not always healthy. A reset interrupts comfort zones and challenges attachments that feel safe simply because they are known. Releasing emotional baggage does not mean denying the past. It means refusing to live there. It means recognizing that what happened to you is real, but it does not get to define who you become. It is choosing healing over bitterness, clarity over chaos, and growth over stagnation. It is understanding that holding on to pain does not protect you. It only prolongs the damage. Spiritual release requires trust. Trust that letting go does not mean losing control but gaining peace. Trust that surrender is not weakness but alignment. Many people hold spiritual baggage because they fear disappointment. They guard their expectations to avoid heartbreak. Faith cannot function where fear is in control. A reset restores faith to its rightful place, not as blind belief, as grounded confidence that what is ahead can be better than what is behind. Resetting also requires forgiveness, not as a favor to those who hurt you, as freedom for yourself. Forgiveness is not approval, reconciliation, or forgetting. It is release. It is the decision to stop allowing someone else's actions to occupy space in your spirit. Unforgiveness keeps you emotionally tied to moments that are over. Forgiveness cuts the cord and gives you back your power. Another essential part of releasing baggage is redefining self-worth. Many emotional wounds are rooted in rejection, abandonment, and comparison. Over time, these experiences shape how you see yourself. You begin to internalize the actions of others and assign them meaning about your value. A reset challenges these false narratives. It invites you to separate who you are from what you experienced. Your worth was never diminished by what you survived. Spiritual baggage often shows up as exhaustion, not physical tiredness, but soul weariness, the kind of fatigue that comes from striving without renewal, believing without resting, and serving without replenishment. Resetting restores balance. It reminds you that purpose was never meant to be pursued at the expense of peace. Alignment produces energy, misalignment produces burnout. Letting go also means releasing outdated versions of yourself. Person you had to become to survive a previous season may not be the person you need to be to thrive in the next one. Survival skills are powerful. They are not always sustainable. Hyper-independence, emotional walls, constant vigilance, these once protected you, but now they may be limiting you. Reset gives you permission to evolve. This process requires patience. Emotional and spiritual release does not happen overnight. It unfolds through reflection, honesty, prayer, and intentional choices. Some days you feel free, other days old feelings resurface. That does not mean you are failing. It means you are healing. Progress is not linear, but persistence brings transformation. Resetting also demands boundaries. You cannot heal in environments that keep reopening wounds. Releasing baggage often means changing patterns, relationships, and habits. It may require saying no without explanation, stepping back without guilt, and choosing peace even when it costs you familiarity. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates that protect what is sacred. Ultimately, releasing emotional and spiritual baggage is an act of courage. It is choosing growth over grudges, faith over fear, and future over familiarity. It is deciding that you will no longer let yesterday's pain dictate tomorrow's possibilities. When you release what was, you make room for what can be. A true reset clears space in the soul. It lightens the spirit. It restores vision. And when the weight is gone, movement becomes easier. You walk with clarity instead of confusion, with peace instead of pressure, with purpose instead of pain. Resetting is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to who you were always meant to be, unburdened, aligned, and ready for what lies ahead. Clarity begins when you disconnect from noise and confusion, because life is full of distractions, conflicting messages, external pressures that cloud judgment and distort vision. So many people live in a constant state of overload, trying to listen to everyone at once, respond to every opinion, and satisfy every expectation. They carry the mental clutter of what others think they should do, alongside the emotional residue of past mistakes and unfulfilled dreams. In such chaos, decision-making becomes difficult, purpose feels hidden, peace seems impossible. Clarity does not arrive in the midst of commotion. It emerges when the mind and spirit are allowed to rest, reflect, and discern without interference. Noise can take many forms. It is the chatter of social media, where the lives of others are displayed as curated perfection, tempting you to compare and compete instead of reflect and create. It is the constant barrage of opinions, advice, and unsolicited feedback from friends, family, colleagues who mean well but do not walk your path. It is the internal dialogue that loops endlessly, replaying regrets, rehearsing fears, and imagining failures. Noise is subtle but powerful. It infiltrates your thinking, clouds judgment, and keeps your soul in a state of tension. Till you deliberately disconnect, clarity cannot find room to breathe. Confusion often accompanies noise. When you are pulled in too many directions at once, it becomes difficult to distinguish between what matters and what does not. People become paralyzed by choices, fearful of making mistakes, are hesitant to take bold steps. Confusion feeds indecision, and indecision breeds stagnation. Without clarity, ambition is aimless and potential remains dormant. Disconnecting from the external and internal distractions of life is not an act of avoidance. It is an act of strategy. It is saying to the world, I will not allow your chaos to dictate my course. Clarity begins with silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. When you withdraw from noise, you begin to hear yourself. You hear your intuition, your convictions, your passions, and even the quiet guidance of the Spirit. Silence allows you to observe your thoughts without judgment, recognize your emotions without reaction, and evaluate situations without panic. In the stillness, priorities reveal themselves. Decisions that once felt impossible become evident. The path forward emerges in the absence of distraction. Disconnection also requires boundaries. To protect clarity, you must be intentional about where you invest your time, attention, and energy. Every conversation deserves your focus. Not every opinion deserves your agreement. Not every invitation or demand deserves your presence. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary for discernment. They create space for reflection and prevent the soul from being pulled into unnecessary conflict or consumed by noise that does not serve growth. Clarity also begins when you let go of mental clutter. Mental clutter is composed of unresolved problems, lingering doubts, and repetitive worries. These are thoughts that cycle endlessly without producing solutions. People often mistake business for productivity, filling their days with activity to avoid facing the questions that truly matter. Disconnecting allows you to sort through this clutter, identifying what is essential, what is temporary, and what must be released. The mind cannot see clearly when it is overstuffed. Like a window covered in dust, clarity requires cleaning, removing what blocks light. Another essential element in achieving clarity is the ability to detach from external validation. When your sense of direction relies on the approval or criticism of others, your vision becomes skewed. Decisions are filtered through the lens of what others will think rather than what aligns with your purpose. Disconnecting from this noise is not isolation. It is alignment. It is creating a mental and emotional space where you can hear your own voice above the clamor, where your values and priorities guide choices instead of the expectations of others. Clarity also grows when you embrace simplicity. Life becomes convoluted when you allow yourself to overcommit, overanalyze, and overthink. Simplicity is the practice of removing excess, focusing on essentials, and letting go of what does not serve your highest purpose. It is learning to prioritize deeply, to say no without guilt, to invest your energy where it creates the greatest return. In simplicity, there is freedom, and in freedom, clarity finds its home. Reflection is another pillar of clarity. When you disconnect from noise, you gain the space to review your life thoughtfully. Reflection allows you to identify patterns, understand lessons, and discern truth from assumption. It allows you to separate emotion from fact and fear from guidance. Without reflection, you act reactively, responding to circumstance rather than creating from conviction. Clarity is born from observation, not from reaction. Finally, clarity begins when you commit to presence. Being fully present in the moment reduces confusion by preventing the mind from projecting the past into the future. The mind often creates chaos by revisiting failures or imagining outcomes that may never come. Presence grounds you. It reminds you that what matters is not what you cannot control, but what you can engage with today. Clarity is not about knowing everything. It is about understanding enough to move decisively with purpose and with confidence. Disconnecting from noise and confusion is not a one-time act, but a continuous practice. It requires vigilance and discipline. It demands daily choices to silence distractions, to set boundaries, to declutter the mind, and to embrace simplicity. Asks for courage to step away from voices that pull you off course, even when those voices are familiar or well-intentioned. It challenges you to trust your own discernment and to listen for guidance that is often quiet, but unmistakable when given space to speak. When you disconnect intentionally, clarity transforms your life. Decisions become easier, relationships more authentic, priorities sharper, purpose undeniable. The clutter of fear, doubt, and distraction no longer obscures the path ahead. Vision replaces confusion, focus replaces hesitation. Peace replaces panic. Clarity is not merely understanding, it is liberation. It is the ability to move forward with confidence, knowing that your steps are aligned with your values, your purpose, and your highest potential. In essence, clarity begins when you decide to step away from what clouds your mind and pollutes your spirit. It begins with discipline, reflection, and courage. Begins when you commit to silence, boundaries, simplicity, and presence. It is not given lightly, and it is not achieved by accident. But when it arrives, it changes everything. Life becomes less about survival and more about mastery. Decisions are no longer burdens, they are expressions of insight. Purpose becomes visible and peace becomes tangible. Clarity is the reward for those who are willing to disconnect, reflect, and listen. And it is the foundation upon which all transformation is built. Restarting does not mean failure because life is not a straight path. Destiny does not operate on a single attempt. Many people misunderstand the idea of beginning again, believing that to restart is to admit defeat or to expose weakness. But in truth, restarting is a declaration of courage. It is the recognition that no matter what happened yesterday, today offers a fresh opportunity to move forward with greater wisdom, strength, and clarity. Restarting is not about the mistakes of the past. It is about the lessons they carry and the foundation they provide for what comes next. Failure is often perceived as final, as though one misstep defines the entirety of one's journey. Society tells us that success is linear, that progress must be continuous, and that those who stumble are unworthy of the next step. This is a lie. Life's most remarkable stories are not written by those who never fell, but by those who refuse to stay down. Restarting acknowledges that setbacks are part of the process, that struggles are not indictments, but invitations. Obstacles are not walls, but ways to refine resilience. When you restart, you are choosing hope over despair, action over stagnation, and faith over fear. To restart is to reclaim agency. When circumstances, mistakes, or even other people's actions cause derailment, it is easy to feel powerless. The temptation is to resign, to accept that the current trajectory is all there will be. But restarting is a refusal to accept limitation imposed by the past. It is an act of sovereignty over your own life. You are declaring that your story is not over because of one chapter, one misstep, or one season of struggle. Restarting is a conscious decision to move forward on your own terms, guided by lessons learned and vision regained. Restarting also requires self-compassion. Many people hesitate to begin again because they fear judgment, fear that others will see them as failures, fear that they will see themselves as inadequate. This fear is unnecessary. Every person who has achieved greatness has restarted multiple times, often in silence and with humility. Restarting is not shameful, it's sacred. It is an acknowledgement that growth is iterative, that mastery requires practice, and that true progress comes from persistence. When you give yourself permission to restart, you give yourself permission to evolve without apology. Restarting is also about vision. A new beginning allows you to reimagine what is possible. It is an opportunity to take what you have learned, the successes, the failures, the lessons, the wisdom, and build with intention rather than reaction. Restarting is not returning to the same path you traveled before. It is taking the map you have drawn from experience and creating a route that is better, stronger, and wiser. It is the art of applying insight gained through trials to move toward a future that is more aligned with purpose and potential. Restarting does not erase history, and it should not. The past is never wasted, even when it is painful. Every setback, disappointment, failure carries information. It teaches discernment, builds character, and refines judgment. Restarting with awareness transforms these lessons into leverage. What once caused you to stumble now gives you momentum. The courage to begin again is built on the understanding that experience is preparation, not punishment. Restarting, then, is an act of strategic empowerment. It is not reaction, but deliberate creation. To restart also requires humility. It asks you to admit that plans may have gone awry, that understanding was incomplete, and that timing may have been imperfect. Humility is not weakness. It is clarity. It allows you to approach life with open eyes, to adjust strategies without pride, and to accept help without feeling diminished. Restarting is strongest when it is grounded in humility, because humility ensures that the new effort is intentional rather than impulsive, measured rather than reactive. It is the recognition that restarting is not about erasing the past, but about using it as a foundation for greater impact. Fear is a natural companion to restarting. Fear tells you that beginning again is risky, that failure is inevitable, and that history will repeat itself. Fear is only powerful if you allow it to dominate your narrative. Restarting demands courage. The courage to step forward despite uncertainty, to embrace possibility despite risk, and to trust that the next attempt can yield a better outcome. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in its presence. Restarting is a demonstration of courage that outpaces anxiety, that moves forward even when confidence is fragile, that refuses to let the past dictate the future. Restarting also reconnects you to your purpose. Sometimes failure occurs not because of inadequacy, but because of misalignment. Plans, relationships, careers that once seemed perfect may no longer serve your growth or vision. A restart allows you to reassess, recalibrate, and redirect toward alignment. It gives space to evaluate whether your efforts are invested in what truly matters or simply in what seems comfortable, convenient, or expected. Restarting is not just doing over, it is doing differently with insight, intention, and integrity. Finally, restarting inspires resilience. Every time you begin again, you strengthen the part of yourself that refuses to quit. Resilience is not born in success. It is forged in effort, perseverance, refusal to accept limitation. Restarting builds confidence because each new attempt proves that the previous outcome does not define your capability. The act of starting over becomes a declaration that your life cannot be constrained by setbacks, that your potential cannot be capped by circumstance, that your future is always larger than your past. Restarting does not mean failure. It means readiness. It is proof that you have survived what would have stopped someone else. It is evidence that you understand that life is a series of seasons, a single linear journey. It is the courage to embrace growth, apply lessons, and step forward with renewed determination. Restarting is sacred because it affirms the truth that your life is not measured by moments of defeat, but by the resilience with which you rise. In the end, restarting is an act of faith, wisdom, and empowerment. It is not a retreat. It is a recalibration. It is not shameful. It is courageous. It is not a repetition of the past. It is the creation of a stronger, wiser, and more intentional future. Every time you choose to restart, you rewrite the narrative of your life, not as someone who failed, but as someone who refused to be defined by failure. Restarting is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new chapter, and often the most remarkable one yet. Delay often prepares you for greater responsibility because timing in life is rarely random. What seems like a setback, a postponed opportunity, an extended waiting period is not necessarily a denial. It is often a divine preparation. Many people look at delays with frustration, impatience, and doubt, believing that the longer they wait, the less likely they are to succeed. But the truth is that life's greatest opportunities require readiness. Readiness is cultivated through seasons that test patience, resilience, and character. Delay is not a punishment. It is a classroom. It teaches, molds, equips you for the responsibilities that lie ahead. When an opportunity is postponed, it is easy to feel overlooked or undervalued. You may ask yourself why others are moving forward while you remain in place. You may compare your progress to those who appear to be ahead. Delay is selective. It is purposeful. It ensures that when your moment arrives, you are not only capable of handling it, you are also prepared to maximize it. Immediate access without preparation often results in squandered potential, unfulfilled promise, decisions made without insight. Delay creates depth, patience, and understanding, qualities essential for handling greater responsibility. One of the ways delay prepares you is by teaching resilience. During periods of waiting, you encounter challenges, frustrations, and disappointments. These experiences, while uncomfortable, cultivate perseverance. You learn to endure hardship without losing focus. You discover how to maintain faith when results are not immediate. Resilience is not built in moments of ease, but in moments of postponement. When your time finally comes, you are equipped to navigate pressure, complexity, and expectation with composure. Delay strengthens the muscles of endurance necessary for leadership and stewardship. Delay also fosters maturity. Many individuals rush into opportunities without the wisdom required to sustain them. They possess talent, ambition, or vision, but lack the discernment comes only through experience and reflection. Waiting periods allow you to observe, to learn, to refine judgment. They teach patience, humility, and emotional intelligence. The challenges faced in times of delay refine character, shaping you into someone capable of not just occupying a role, but excelling in it responsibly. Without this growth, responsibility can be overwhelming. Influence can be misused. Preparation through delay also builds skill and competence. Opportunities often demand more than enthusiasm. They require readiness, knowledge, and strategy. Seasons of waiting can be spent sharpening skills, acquiring new abilities, expanding understanding, and building networks. These periods are opportunities to learn what you could not grasp in the rush to achieve. While others may see waiting as stagnation, the wise use the time to strengthen capacity so that when responsibility arrives, it is met with excellence rather than improvisation. Delay encourages discernment. When things come too quickly, there is a risk of being blinded by excitement or overwhelmed by pressure. The waiting period allows you to evaluate options, understand context, and consider consequences. It helps you distinguish between what is truly an opportunity and what may be a distraction. Greater responsibility demands clear thinking, careful judgment, and strategic vision, and delay teaches these lessons subtly but profoundly. Patience becomes a tool of discernment, ensuring that when the moment comes, you make choices aligned with purpose rather than impulse. Another dimension of delay is the cultivation of humility. Waiting reminds you that timing is not entirely within your control. It humbles pride, tempers entitlement, and teaches dependence on process, on guidance, and on inner strength. Humility is essential when stepping into roles of responsibility because it ensures you lead with integrity rather than ego. Those who fail to recognize the value of preparation may seize opportunities prematurely, only to falter under the weight of responsibility. Delay tempers readiness, softens arrogance, and strengthens character for leadership. Delay also enhances appreciation. When achievement or opportunity is immediate, it can be taken for granted. When it is delayed, anticipation grows, patience is tested, perseverance is honored, the eventual arrival of opportunity after delay is often met with gratitude, intentionality, and a sense of stewardship. Greater responsibility is not merely about attaining power or influence, it is about honoring it with care, focus, and commitment. Delay ensures that when the moment comes, it is neither wasted nor undervalued. Delay often aligns your timing with circumstances beyond your control. Sometimes, opportunities are postponed because the environment is not yet ready for your contribution, or because the people, systems, or conditions necessary for success are still developing. Waiting allows these external factors to catch up with your readiness, creating synergy between your preparation and the world's receptivity. When preparation meets opportunity, the result is impact rather than struggle, influence rather than chaos. Delay positions you strategically for maximum effectiveness. Faith is tested and strengthened during delay. It is easy to maintain hope when progress is visible and momentum is evident. Waiting requires belief in unseen outcomes and trust that the process is intentional. Faith grows in patience, trust deepens in silence, character solidifies in the absence of immediate reward. These qualities are indispensable for greater responsibility because leadership, stewardship, and influence demand steadiness, commitment, and vision over time. Those who learn to wait well become reliable custodians of trust and authority. Delay also allows for reflection and reassessment. In the pause, you can evaluate past actions, decisions, and patterns. You can identify areas for growth, acknowledge mistakes, and adjust strategies. Reflection during waiting periods ensures that when responsibility is assumed, it is done with awareness, foresight, purpose. Greater responsibility is not simply about occupying a position. It is about understanding the impact of actions, anticipating consequences, and guiding others wisely. Delay provides the space to cultivate this perspective. In essence, delay is preparation disguised as postponement. Teaches resilience, maturity, skill, discernment, humility, appreciation, and faith. It aligns timing, strengthens character, and positions you for success. It ensures that when responsibility arrives, it is met not with panic or incompetence, but with confidence, wisdom, and strategic vision. The waiting period is not empty, it is formative. It transforms impatience into insight, frustration into understanding, and waiting into readiness. Those who embrace delay understand that life does not operate on their timetable. They learn to trust the process, to invest in growth, to use waiting periods intentionally. Delay does not indicate denial, it signals preparation. It is a reminder that the weight of responsibility should not be carried by the unprepared, and that those who are ready will rise when the moment arrives. Ultimately, delay often prepares you for greater responsibility because it cultivates everything necessary to handle it well. It strengthens, teaches, and aligns. It allows the mind to mature, the heart to settle, and the spirit to grow. Those who rush often stumble. Those who wait wisely arrive capable. Delay is not punishment, it is provision. It is an unseen architect quietly shaping you into someone who can not only carry responsibility but thrive under it. It is a season of preparation, a time to refine, and a period to position yourself for purpose. Those who learn to embrace delay understand that timing is sacred. Preparation is essential and patience is power. When the moment comes, they will not merely participate, they will lead, influence, and excel. Refocus demands boundaries, discipline, and discernment because clarity of purpose and progress in life cannot exist without intention, protection, and wisdom. Often, people drift from their goals, their vision, and their calling not because they lack talent or desire, because they have not established the necessary structures to safeguard their energy, attention, and time. To refocus is to reclaim ownership of your life. Requires more than a change of thought. It demands a reorganization of habits, priorities, and relationships. Without boundaries, discipline, and discernment, refocusing becomes fleeting, shallow, and ineffective. Boundaries are the first requirement of true refocus. Life will always present distractions, demands, and competing agendas. People will make requests that drain your energy. Situations will arise that cloud your judgment. And opportunities will appear that may seem enticing but are misaligned with your path. Without boundaries, your attention becomes fragmented, your energy diluted, and your progress stalled. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of stewardship. It is saying, I will not allow what does not serve my purpose to occupy my space, my time, or my energy. Boundaries protect what is essential, allow focus to deepen, ensure that your efforts are invested where they yield fruit. Boundaries are not just external, they are internal as well. They require the discipline to refuse negative self-talk, to reject toxic thinking patterns, and to stop indulging habits that do not align with your goals. Internal boundaries preserve mental clarity and emotional health. They prevent the past from dictating the present and the fear of failure from preventing progress. Without these protective limits, distraction becomes inevitable and focus remains shallow. Boundaries create the structure in which refocus can take root and flourish. Discipline is the second pillar of refocus. It is the bridge between intention and execution. To refocus is not enough to simply recognize what is important. You must act consistently in alignment with that priority. Discipline allows you to say no to short-term gratification in favor of long-term results. It keeps you moving steadily when motivation wanes, when enthusiasm fades, and when circumstances are challenging. Discipline transforms desire into action and vision into reality. Without discipline, refocus becomes wishful thinking, a hope that never materializes because consistent effort is absent. Discipline also requires accountability. To maintain focus, you must establish routines, rituals, and habits that reinforce your priorities. This may mean waking earlier, planning your day intentionally, limiting distractions, or holding yourself to standards that are higher than convenience or comfort. Discipline is not punitive, it is empowering. It enables you to channel your energy strategically, ensuring that your time is spent advancing your purpose rather than reacting to circumstances beyond your control. Discipline builds momentum. Momentum sustains focus even in the face of challenges. Discernment is the third critical component of refocus. Life is full of choices, opportunities, voices, not all of which are aligned with your path. Discernment is the ability to distinguish what is beneficial from what is distracting, what is essential from what is trivial, and what is truth from what is illusion. Without discernment, focus can be misapplied, energy misdirected, priorities confused. Discernment allows you to evaluate circumstances with clarity, make decisions confidently, avoid pitfalls that could derail your progress. It is the wisdom to act strategically rather than impulsively, ensuring that your efforts yield meaningful results. Discernment is cultivated through reflection and experience. It requires an understanding of your values, strengths, and purpose. It demands the humility to recognize what you do not know and the courage to act on what you do know. Discernment allows you to hear the difference between advice that serves growth and opinions that sow doubt. It equips you to navigate complexity, resist temptation, and maintain focus on what truly matters. Without discernment, discipline can become rigid and boundaries can become isolating. It is discernment that ensures both are applied wisely and effectively. Refocus also demands a commitment to simplicity. The more cluttered your life physically, mentally, or emotionally, the harder it becomes to maintain focus. Simplifying commitments, reducing obligations, removing distractions are practical expressions of boundaries, discipline, and discernment. Simplification does not mean abandoning ambition. It means prioritizing what produces the greatest return for your purpose and letting go of what dilutes your energy. In simplicity, focus finds space to grow. Clarity emerges from distraction. Refocus requires intentionality. It is a conscious decision to align actions with purpose. Is the refusal to drift through life reacting to circumstance or opinion. Intentionality integrates boundaries, discipline, discernment into a cohesive approach to living. It demands that you ask critical questions. Where am I investing my energy? Which relationships strengthen or drain me? Which habits advance my goals and which hinder them? Answering these questions with honesty allows you to act with precision, ensuring that your focus produces meaningful results rather than fragmented effort. Maintaining refocus is an ongoing practice. It is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. Each day presents new challenges, distractions, choices that can test your boundaries, discipline, and discernment To sustain focus, you must continually evaluate priorities, reaffirm commitments, adjust strategies as circumstances change. This requires vigilance, persistence, and self-awareness. Refocus is not static, it is dynamic, adapting to growth while remaining anchored in purpose. The reward of refocus is profound. Boundaries protect your energy, discipline converts intention into progress, and discernment ensures that every step taken is strategic and meaningful. Together, they produce clarity, efficiency, and purpose-driven momentum. Refocusing allows you to reclaim wasted time, redirect scattered energy, and invest fully in what matters most. It transforms distraction into intentional action, chaos into order, and potential into accomplishment. In essence, refocus demands boundaries, discipline, and discernment because these are the tools that guide, and channel your energy toward purpose. Boundaries shield you from what would derail progress. Discipline sustains effort when motivation is insufficient. Discernment ensures that your actions are wise and aligned with your goals. Together, they create the environment in which focus thrives and transformation occurs. To refocus is to take control of your life, to act with intention, to move forward with clarity, strength, and purpose. Without these three pillars, focus is fragile. With them, it becomes unstoppable. Refocusing is not easy. It is essential. It requires courage to set limits, perseverance to maintain discipline, and wisdom to discern truth from distraction. It demands self-awareness, strategic thinking, and the humility to adjust when necessary. Yet, when boundaries, discipline, and discernment are fully embraced, refocus becomes not just an action, but a lifestyle, continuous alignment of energy, intention, and purpose that propels you toward meaningful achievement. This is the power of refocus. It transforms potential into reality, chaos into clarity, and vision into fulfillment. Everyone can go where your future requires you to be because the path to your purpose is unique, demanding, and often solitary. Life has a way of testing your vision, your faith, and your resilience, and it becomes clear over time that not everyone who shares your journey today is meant to walk with you into tomorrow. Relationships, friendships, alliances are often valuable in one season, but unsuitable in another. To reach the heights your future demands, you must recognize that not every presence in your life is permanent, and not every connection is aligned with your destiny. Understanding this truth is essential for growth, focus, and fulfillment. People are placed in your life for different reasons. Some are teachers, some are mirrors, and some are companions for the journey. Just because someone is significant in your present does not mean they are equipped for your future. Some lack the vision, the discipline, or the willingness to evolve at the pace your purpose requires. Others may love you. Their limitations prevent them from supporting the demands that your next season entails. This is not a judgment of worth. It is a recognition of alignment. Your future will demand clarity, courage, and capacity, and not everyone can carry that with you. The first challenge is discerning who can and cannot accompany you. Many people cling to relationships out of familiarity, comfort, or obligation. They fear loneliness, confrontation, or disappointment. But staying connected to those who cannot support your growth will hinder your progress. They may unintentionally distract you, slow your momentum, or cloud your judgment. Their energy may pull you back into old patterns rather than pushing you toward higher purpose. Understanding that your journey requires select company is not cruelty, it is wisdom. Your future requires people who understand the cost of vision. Everyone can bear the burden of ambition, responsibility, or transformation. Some individuals are comfortable in stability and may resist change, thrive on routine, and cannot handle the intensity of growth. Some lack the emotional or spiritual maturity to sustain the challenges that accompany progress. When your future begins to demand focus, sacrifice, and intentionality, only those prepared for such alignment can walk with you without hesitation or resentment. Letting go of people who cannot go where your future requires you to be is an act of courage and love for yourself and love for them. Often, separation is necessary not because someone is unkind, but because their presence is no longer mutually supportive. It allows both parties to thrive within their respective capacities. Continuing to force alignment where none exists creates tension, frustration, and stagnation. The discipline to release is not rejection. It is respect for the paths each of you must walk. Your future will also demand solitude at times. There will be moments when decisions must be made without counsel, risks must be taken without reassurance, and sacrifices must be endured without applause. Not everyone is prepared to witness this journey, and that is acceptable. Solitude is not loneliness. It is preparation, reflection, and alignment. It allows you to strengthen your independence, deepen your resilience, and clarify your vision. Those who cannot walk with you will serve as contrast, showing you the importance of standing firm in your purpose regardless of external support. Some relationships may continue in new forms. Everyone who cannot accompany you needs to be severed completely. Mentors, colleagues, or friends may remain in your life in advisory or peripheral roles. Key is to maintain boundaries that preserve your focus and energy. Your future will demand priority over preference and clarity over comfort. Ability to adjust connections, redefine roles, and protect your trajectory is essential for achieving what is uniquely yours. It is also important to recognize that your journey may intimidate some people. Progress, confidence, vision can create distance because not everyone can match your pace or embrace the changes your growth necessitates. Some may feel left behind, threatened, or inadequate. This is not a reflection on your worth or purpose. It is a reflection of misalignment. Your responsibility is not to accommodate hesitation or fear. It is to honor the direction in which you are being called. The future rewards those who advance, not those who linger in doubt. Your future will demand discernment in relationships. Everyone with good intentions has the ability to influence your life positively. Some may unintentionally reinforce fear, doubt, or limitation. Others may thrive on distraction, conflict, or dependency. Your task is to evaluate connections through the lens of your purpose. Ask yourself, does this relationship support my growth, amplify my potential, and align with my values? If not, it may be necessary to create distance. Discernment is not cold, it is strategic, ensuring that your energy is invested wisely and your trajectory is protected. Growth is often accompanied by pruning. Just as trees shed leaves to conserve energy for new seasons, your life may require the removal of relationships that no longer serve your advancement. This pruning is not about punishment, it is about preparation. It creates space for new connections, opportunities, and resources that align with your vision. Your future may demand new alliances, mentors, or partners who can contribute to the next level of your journey. Those who cannot go with you make room for those who can. Your future will also demand integrity. Not everyone can walk with you because some may not share your values, your standards, or your vision. Integrity attracts those aligned and repels those who are not. It is better to move forward with few aligned companions than to drag along many who compromise your focus, ethics, or direction. True companionship in your journey is measured not by convenience or closeness, but by the alignment of purpose and the willingness to commit to the shared journey ahead. Understanding that not everyone can accompany you requires patience and perspective. Separation does not always happen immediately. It may be gradual, subtle, even painful. You may need to adjust expectations, forgive limitations, and accept some relationships will never evolve to match your path. This is part of maturity. Your responsibility is not to force alignment, but to recognize and honor it when it exists and to release when it does not. Ultimately, not everyone can go where your future requires you to be because the demands of purpose, responsibility, and vision are selective. Your journey is sacred, unique, and intentional. The people who can accompany you are those who share your values, support your growth, and are willing to meet the demands that your next season entails. Those who cannot are not failures. They are simply misaligned, and their distance allows both of you to fulfill your respective destinies. Recognizing this truth protects your energy, clarifies your path, and strengthens your resolve. Not everyone can go where your future requires you to be, and that is a gift, not a burden. It teaches you to value alignment over proximity, quality over quantity, and vision over familiarity. It allows you to cultivate resilience, independence, and clarity. It ensures that when your moment arrives, your focus is undiluted, your energy is uncompromised, and your spirit is fully prepared to ascend. Your future demands intentionality, courage, and strategic companionship, and understanding this will free you to pursue your path with confidence, faith, unwavering determination. In the end, the reality that not everyone can go where your future requires you to be is not a limitation. It is liberation. It reveals who is aligned with your vision, who supports your journey, and who contributes to your destiny. It empowers you to step boldly, make difficult choices, and prioritize purpose above comfort. And when you embrace this truth, your future becomes unshakable, unstoppable, unbounded by the limitations of others. Quiet growth produces lasting power because the most profound transformations in life often occur away from the spotlight, outside of applause, and beyond the scrutiny of others. True strength is rarely built through performance or recognition. It is cultivated in the unseen seasons of dedication, discipline, and resilience. People often mistake visibility for success, believing that influence and accomplishment come only from being noticed. Lasting power is rooted in the quiet moments, those early mornings, late nights, uninterrupted hours of focus where effort is invested consistently without external validation. Quiet growth allows for depth, stability, and endurance, creating a foundation that withstands challenges and time. The essence of quiet growth lies in patience. The world moves fast. Society celebrates immediate results. Instant gratification has become the standard for success, leading many to confuse speed with progress. Yet, power built quickly without depth often crumbles under pressure. Quiet growth, by contrast, develops slowly and deliberately. It involves learning, unlearning, refining, and adjusting in silence. It prioritizes mastery over appearance, understanding that the strength gained in private becomes unstoppable when tested in public. Those who embrace quiet growth know that enduring power cannot be rushed. It must be nurtured, fortified, and strengthened over time. Quiet growth also fosters discipline. When no one is watching, when accolades are absent, and when motivation is challenged, your commitment is tested. Discipline is the force that sustains action when recognition is lacking and when results are not immediate. It allows you to continue refining skills, building habits, and aligning with your vision even in the absence of external pressure. Discipline exercised in quiet seasons translates into resilience in critical moments. It ensures that when opportunities arise, you are prepared, grounded, capable of sustaining the demands of responsibility. Resilience is another product of quiet growth. Strength developed under observation can falter when challenges arise because it is often superficial, dependent on praise or approval. Quiet growth, on the other hand, is forged through perseverance, patience, and consistency. It endures the mundane, thrives in solitude, remains steadfast when progress is slow or setbacks occur. Resilience built in silence is reliable because it is intrinsic. It is not contingent on affirmation or validation from others. This resilience becomes a source of lasting power, allowing you to navigate adversity with calmness, confidence, and composure. Quiet growth also enhances discernment. When you cultivate yourself away from distraction and outside influence, you develop the ability to assess situations, people, and opportunities with clarity. Reflection becomes natural in quiet seasons. You learn to differentiate between what is important and what is trivial, what aligns with your purpose and what does not, and what requires action versus patience. Discernment ensures that when power is exercised, it is not misused. Lasting influence is grounded in wisdom, not impulsivity, and quiet growth provides the space necessary to develop this crucial quality. The process of quiet growth often includes self-mastery. It requires confronting weaknesses, understanding limitations, and addressing internal barriers without public recognition. This may involve refining character, controlling impulses, expanding knowledge, strengthening emotional and spiritual intelligence. Self-mastery is rarely glamorous, but it is the cornerstone of enduring power. People who achieve lasting influence are often those who have mastered themselves first, those who have invested time and energy in understanding who they are, what they value, and how they respond under pressure. Quiet growth is the laboratory in which this mastery is created. Another aspect of quiet growth is strategic preparation. While others may rush toward visibility or recognition, those who embrace quiet seasons are building systems, acquiring skills, and developing resources that will support long-term success. They understand that power without preparation is vulnerable to collapse, and that influence without foundation is fleeting. Quiet growth provides the time and space to plan, to innovate, and to cultivate resources in alignment with long-term goals. This preparation ensures that when the moment of opportunity arises, it is met with readiness, competence, and confidence. Quiet growth also strengthens humility. When achievement is not public, ego is less inflamed, and ambition can be guided by purpose rather than praise. Humility prevents impulsive decisions, arrogance, the misuse of influence. It allows for learning, listening, and adapting, ensuring that power, once attained, is exercised responsibly. Humility developed in quiet seasons reinforces integrity, creating strength that is respected and influence that is enduring. Lasting power is never built on pride alone. It is anchored in wisdom, patience, and self-awareness. Consistency is another key benefit of quiet growth. Power that is built quietly is not dependent on spikes of effort, bursts of motivation, or occasional inspiration. It is the result of repeated, intentional actions over time. Every small effort compounds. Every disciplined choice strengthens capability. Every refined habit adds to the foundation of influence. Quiet growth teaches the value of perseverance, showing that the accumulation of small, deliberate steps often produces results more impactful than grand gestures or public displays. Consistency ensures that when power manifests, it is substantial and enduring. Quiet growth also creates authenticity. Influence gained through spectacle, attention, external validation often lacks depth and can be superficial. In contrast, power developed in silence reflects true capability, conviction, and character. It is grounded in reality rather than perception, in substance rather than appearance. Authenticity attracts loyalty, respect, collaboration, because people sense the integrity of someone whose strength is proven in both private and public spheres. Lasting power is not performative. It is real, and quiet growth is the crucible in which this authenticity is forged. Patience is cultivated through quiet growth. Waiting, enduring, progressing in unseen seasons teaches the value of timing, strategic action, and long-term vision. It builds the ability to resist shortcuts, impulsive decisions, and the pressure of immediate results. Patience ensures that power, once attained, is sustainable because it was developed methodically, thoughtfully, and intentionally. Those who understand quiet growth know that impatience can undermine potential, whereas patience allows for the maturation of influence, authority, and capability. Ultimately, quiet growth produces lasting power because it integrates discipline, resilience, discernment, self-mastery, preparation, humility, consistency, authenticity, and patience. It is a deliberate cultivation of capability and character away from the distractions, pressures, and expectations of public attention. Power developed in quiet seasons endures because it is tested, refined, and strengthened in solitude before being exercised in the world. It is reliable, strategic, and deeply rooted. Quiet growth may feel invisible, unrewarded, and unnoticed at times. It carries a momentum that cannot be replicated by hurried efforts or performative achievement. It is the slow, steady accumulation of strength, wisdom, and insight that forms the backbone of true influence. Those who embrace quiet growth understand that recognition and reward will eventually follow because they sought applause, but because they cultivated capability and character that are undeniable. In the end, quiet growth produces lasting power because it is intentional, disciplined, and aligned with purpose. It is strength built in silence, resilience forged in patience, and wisdom honed through reflection. Lasting power is not flashy, it is not immediate, and it is not dependent on approval. It is earned, sustained, and refined over time. Quiet growth ensures that when the moment comes to step into authority, influence, or responsibility, you are not only ready, you are unshakable. Alignment, not speed, determines success in 2026 because rushing toward achievement without clarity, purpose, and intentionality often leads to frustration, misdirection, and wasted energy. In today's world, society glorifies speed. We are constantly encouraged to move faster, achieve more, and reach milestones ahead of others. Yet, speed without alignment is like driving a car at full throttle with no clear destination. You may cover distance. It does not guarantee progress toward what truly matters. Success is not measured by how quickly you move. It is measured by whether your actions are consistent with your values, vision, and long-term purpose. Alignment ensures that every step taken, every effort invested, and every decision made propels you toward meaningful results rather than temporary gratification. Alignment begins with self-awareness. To move with intention, you must first understand who you are, what you value, and where you are called to go. Without this clarity, speed becomes chaos. Activity becomes a substitute for progress. Self-awareness allows you to distinguish between distractions and opportunities, noise and guidance, temporary desires and enduring priorities. In 2026, the ability to pause, reflect, and recalibrate is more valuable than hurried action because it ensures that your energy is invested in endeavors that resonate with your purpose rather than chasing what appears impressive or urgent. Alignment also requires clarity of vision. Vision is not simply setting goals or making plans. It is understanding the destination you are moving toward and why it matters. When your vision is clear, speed becomes secondary because you are guided by precision rather than pressure. People rush through life chasing success that is defined by external standards, titles, money, recognition, rather than internal alignment with purpose. In contrast, those who prioritize alignment over speed are intentional, strategic, and deliberate in their decisions. They understand that every action should serve the larger vision and that moving too fast without this guidance can result in missteps that delay true progress. Alignment in 2026 also demands discernment. Opportunities will come at you from every direction. Some aligned with your purpose, others merely appealing. The ability to assess, filter, and choose wisely is critical. Speed tempts you to seize everything at once, to say yes to everything, to follow every trend or opportunity without pause. Alignment, however, teaches you to say no to what distracts, to wait for what fits, to prioritize quality over quantity. Discernment ensures that your energy, time, and resources are invested where they will generate the greatest impact, producing results that endure rather than fleeting achievements that fade. Boundaries are an essential part of alignment. In order to move deliberately, you must protect your time, energy, and focus. Boundaries prevent distractions, reduce unnecessary pressure, and safeguard your mental, emotional, spiritual health. Many people sacrifice alignment in the pursuit of speed, overcommitting themselves to tasks, people, or obligations that do not support their goals. Boundaries create the conditions for deep, purposeful work, ensuring that every step taken advances your vision rather than spreading your energy thin. In 2026, those who maintain clear boundaries will experience consistent momentum, while those who chase speed without alignment risk burnout and deviation from purpose. Patience is another critical component of alignment. Speed often demands immediate results, instant gratification, and rapid progress. Alignment, however, recognizes that meaningful outcomes require time, preparation, and refinement. Rushing can lead to mistakes, miscalculations, and unnecessary setbacks. True success is cultivated through steady, intentional progress, developing skills, building relationships, and executing strategies that are sustainable. Patience allows you to wait for the right timing, for the right resources, and for opportunities that truly resonate with your goals. In 2026, patience coupled with alignment will separate those who achieve lasting impact from those who only chase fleeting victories. Alignment also ensures that your actions are consistent with your values. In the pursuit of speed, people often compromise integrity, ethics, or authenticity to achieve immediate results. Such gains are temporary and often accompanied by regret or consequences. Alignment keeps you grounded in what is true, meaningful, and sustainable. It prevents shortcuts that undermine your foundation, ensuring that the success you achieve is built on principles, not expedients. In 2026, maintaining alignment with values will not only produce authentic success, but also attract opportunities, partnerships, and resources that resonate with your vision. Consistency is another advantage of alignment. When your actions are guided by alignment rather than speed, progress becomes reliable and sustainable. Consistency is the compound effect of repeated, intentional actions that build momentum over time. Speed without alignment often produces bursts of effort, followed by burnout or misdirection, whereas alignment produces steady advancement, allowing skills, influence, and results to accumulate naturally. Those who prioritize alignment over speed in 2026 will find that their progress may feel gradual. It is substantial, stable, and capable of sustaining long-term success. Reflection and recalibration are integral to maintaining alignment. In the pursuit of speed, people often neglect to pause, evaluate, and adjust. They continue moving forward even when the direction is off, wasting time and energy on efforts that do not serve their purpose. Alignment requires deliberate reflection and honest assessment of progress and adjustments where necessary. It demands that you continually ask whether your actions are consistent with your goals and whether the trajectory is taking you closer to the outcome you desire. In 2026, the ability to reflect and recalibrate will be a key differentiator between temporary achievement and enduring success. Finally, alignment ensures resilience. The path to success is never smooth. Challenges, obstacles, and setbacks are inevitable. Those who prioritize speed over alignment often falter when difficulties arise because their progress is shallow, reactive, and unstable. Alignment, however, equips you with the foundation, clarity, and focus to persevere through adversity. It allows you to remain committed to your vision even when the pace slows, delays occur, or when results are not immediate. Resilience born from alignment produces enduring success, whereas speed without foundation produces vulnerability, frustration, and fleeting gains. In essence, alignment, not speed, determines success in 2026. Success is not measured by how fast you move, but by how intentionally you move. Alignment integrates vision, values, discernment, boundaries, patience, consistency, reflection, and resilience into every step you take. It ensures that your energy, focus, effort are concentrated on what truly matters rather than being scattered in the pursuit of rapid results. While others may rush, falter, restart repeatedly, those who move in alignment progress steadily, build capacity, and create results that endure. In conclusion, the year 2026 calls for intentional, deliberate movement. It calls for recognizing that speed without direction is wasted energy. Alignment produces momentum that is purposeful and sustainable. By prioritizing alignment over haste, position yourself to achieve not only immediate goals, but also long-term success that reflects your vision, values, and potential. Alignment ensures that every step, decision, and effort propels you closer to your purpose, creating a trajectory that is powerful, sustainable, and unshakable. Success in 2026 will not belong to the fast, but to those who are aligned, intentional, and unwavering in pursuit of what truly matters.